All right, welcome to number 4. Today we're going to be going over the real bread and butter of Excel. Like I told you, Excel is kind of, acts as a big calculator. It can not only add, two cells together, but what it can do is it can look at a whole range of cells and calculate, averages, maxes, a few different types of calculations, and we're going to show you that right now. So, like I said, to start a formula, you use the equal sign to let the computer know that it's going to be calculating. Equals max. When you get here, you can either type a parentheses and start the formula, or you can hit tab. I typically hit tab because you start running through formulas faster. So equals max, and then we're going to pick this whole range. Alright, so this is interesting. These calculations do not like NA being in there. So we'll assign that an arbitrary value. There we go. Alright, so now let's try min. Very similar setup as before, but now it's looking for the lowest number in the range. Alright, so now we know the highest number in the range right now, based off this max function, is 85, and the smallest is 77. Now what do you think the average is? Select the whole range. Beautiful. And going back to past lessons, we're going to reduce the amount of decimals just because it starts getting unnecessary sometimes. Sum. Very similar, and this is just the cumulative. And another way to do that is if you select your range, Excel will give you a nice little quick synopsis of what's going on in the data. So essentially, sum, count, and average are already calculated whenever you select a range. So that brings us to count. What count does is, as you can see, it counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. So as you can expect, it'll be 12 right now. Count A is a little bit different. This counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So this will be 12 right now, but I will change it to show you a case where count A will still be counting a cell and count won't. So we'll change this to NA. As you know, calculation kind of bugs out. It happens a lot. I'll show you how to handle that in a minute. As you can see, count A still counts at text value, where count doesn't. We can even change it to a regular text value. But we're going to change it back to a regular or arbitrary number. Alright, now sum if. We're going to go over what an if function is, or just the logic of an if statement. And essentially, to break it down, it is if the sky is blue, then don't wear a jacket. If sky is cloudy, then wear a jacket. So essentially, based off an observation, it can give you two potential cases. So essentially, sum if, so very similar to the sum, but we're going to sum if, we're going to sum, how can we do this? We'll just say sum if, if it is trial, if it's a double-digit trial. So give me the sum for any numbers of the trials that are above 10. This is going to include 1, and I will actually teach you what a wildcard is. So sum if. Your range, essentially your if criteria range, your actual criteria, and then what you are summing. So essentially, what I'm telling the computer to do is sum numbers here based off of data here if it matches this. So now let's try to break this down. What criteria was satisfied? It looks like trial 10, 11, and 12, because that 1 is what we call a wild star, and it can take the place of the 0, the 1, and the 2. And it looks like it's also counting this first trial, because that's exactly what it sees. Alright, so let's see if 319 is the sum of these. And as you can see, I used control, click to select multiple cells, and the sum is 319. Looks like that sum if is right, and we are on our way. Count if. I'm going to show you a very different use for this, and I use this all the time. I would say this is one of my secret moves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all the potentials right here, all the potential for an amount of jelly beans, and what we want to do is we want to say, hey, how many times did 78 occur? So what we do is we go down to data,